Reading Inventory, also known as the IRI. How an IRI Works by Shaharinalam. What is an IRI? An IRI is an aid to help teachers determine a child's reading level and his or her weaknesses and strengths. It incorporates word lists, oral and reading passages, and often there is a listening capacity test that goes in conjunction with the IRI. The purpose of an IRI is to be used as a diagnostic tool for teachers to use to gain information about their students. It gauges the student's reading level, whether it is at independent, instructional, frustrational, or functional levels. Also gauges the student's listening comprehension capacity. The teacher determines the child's strengths and weaknesses from the administering of the IRI. Who should be given an IRI? Well, it is time-consuming to administer an IRI to every student in the classroom. So therefore, it is almost impossible to give every child an IRI. So a teacher must keep in mind who should actually receive one so that they can better help their students. Those students who answer questions to passages that are read aloud in class but never want to read aloud probably have trouble decoding their words and so therefore need help and need to be given an IRI. Those students who also read orally but don't want to answer comprehension questions probably can decode the words but are having trouble knowing how to answer questions that are inferential. Those students who stumble on many words while reading are having trouble decoding their words but may be able to answer questions well. They also need to be given an IRI. Those students who have scored below level on standardized exams need to be given an IRI. They may be able to answer questions fine and read orally, just not at the grade level that they are currently in. Performing an IRI. Step 1. Before administering an IRI, there has to be a comfortability between the teacher and the student. This is so that the student does not have any apprehensions about taking this test. The child needs to know that this test will not affect their grades or their report card in any way. The child should also understand that the test is being given so that the teacher and the student both can get a better understanding of where the child's reading level is at. Once the rapport between the teacher and the student are established, performing an IRI can begin. The IRI begins from the Word Recognition Inventory, also known as the WRI. It begins 2 grade levels below the child's actual grade level.
You can use index cards to cover up all the words except for one, like this or this.
You must keep the word list covered and only flash one word at a time. The child should respond immediately after looking at the word. If the child's answer is correct, put a check mark next to the word. If the response is incorrect, but the child immediately corrects themselves, you put a check plus next to the word. If a child's answer is wrong, but you give the child an untimed amount of time to correct themselves and try to decode the word, and they correctly do, you give them a check minus. If the child cannot decode the word at all, place a 0. After you are done with the word list for that grade level, you record the score by adding up all the words that have the check. This is their score on their WRI. Continue administering the WRI until there are 4 or more incorrect answers at any grade level. Next, after the WRI is completed, the child will begin the oral and silent reading passage section. The child will begin at the level where they had 0 mistakes on the WRI. The child will start reading the oral passage out loud as the teacher records any errors made. If the child's reading level for the passage is independent or instructional, the child is asked the comprehension questions. They may be factual, inferential, or word meaning. Sometimes there are evaluative questions, but not always. If the answer is correct, the teacher will put a check mark next to it. If the answer is incorrect, the teacher will record the answer that the student has given to them. Next, the child will read the silent passage on their own. The child will be asked the comprehension questions again, and the teacher will record correct answers with a check mark and incorrect answers by recording the answer that was given to them. Next, the student goes on to the next level of oral and silent reading passages. This will continue until the child reaches their frustration level. Once the child is reaching or has reached the frustration level in the oral or the silent reading section, they will be given the listening capacity test. The teacher will read aloud the passage and ask the student the comprehension questions. This is scored the same way as the oral and silent reading passage sections are. If the answer is correct, there will be a check mark, and if it is incorrect, the child's answer will be recorded. Once the IRI has been concluded, the teacher can use the information that they have gained from administering this test to figure out the strengths and the areas of weaknesses from the child. An IRI is extremely useful, but only as long as the teacher who is administering the IRI knows how to interpret the results that they have received. The information that the IRI gives the teacher can help the teacher properly instruct their students to improve their reading skills.